Welcome, everyone. The collapse of society is not some distant dystopian fantasy. It's tapping its foot impatiently on the other side of this extremely thin ice we call civilization. Global events are escalating faster than a game of geopolitical whack-a-mole played by someone who's mainlined Red Bull and paranoia. We're talking conflicts popping off like flash sales on Wish.com, production lines grinding to a halt, and supply chains so backed up they make the Los Angeles freeway system look like a synchronized waltz. Today we're diving headfirst into the cesspool of societal collapse, armed with a metaphorical snorkel and a PowerPoint presentation that would make a doomsday prepper say, "Well, that's a bit much even for me." So buckle up, grab a stiff drink, and let's unpack the 20 signs that suggest the apocalypse isn't coming. It's already RSVP'd and is currently raiding your pantry for snacks. A healthy dose of skepticism is important, especially when someone on the internet is trying to convince you the world is ending. But here's the thing, this isn't just me spouting off half-baked theories based on a suspicious stain on my carpet that looks vaguely like Henry Kissinger. This is science, people, cold, hard, peer-reviewed science. Back in 1972, a group of very clever and frankly quite pessimistic researchers at MIT developed a model to track the trajectory of our civilization. They called it the limits to growth because even back then, irony was apparently dead. They plugged in all sorts of variables: population growth, pollution levels, resource depletion, the whole shebang, and what they found was about as comforting as a prostate exam conducted by a honey badger. It turns out our civilization is on a collision course with a big fat oops. And the kicker? Their model predicted that we'd start seeing the warning signs of this impending collapse around the year, wait for it, 2020. Coincidence? I think not. One of the biggest red flags waving in our collective faces right now is the increasingly dire state of our planet's pantry. The Earth isn't some magical cornucopia endlessly overflowing with resources for us to plunder. It's more like a delicately balanced ecosystem with finite resources that we're currently treating like a bottomless buffet at a casino. And just like that buffet, eventually the food runs out, and you're left with nothing but a bad case of indigestion and the crushing realization that you should have paced yourself. The study I mentioned earlier also highlighted a rather inconvenient truth. Natural resources are the lifeblood of any civilization. No trees, no houses, no oil, no gas-guzzling SUVs, no rare earth minerals, no smartphones to film TikToks of yourself crying over the lack of gas-guzzling SUVs. It's a simple equation, really, but one that we, as a species with the collective attention span of a goldfish on a sugar rush, seem to have completely missed. We're facing shortages of everything from oil and gas to wheat and baby formula. And let me tell you, the main course is looking awfully bleak. Now let's talk about everyone's favorite topic, economics. Don't worry, I promise not to bore you with complicated graphs and jargon that would make Alan Greenspan's head spin. Let's just say that the global economy is currently experiencing the economic equivalent of explosive diarrhea after a bad burrito. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, and it's probably going to leave a stain on the carpet that no amount of scrubbing will remove. For the past few decades, we've been living in a magical fairy tale land of cheap credit, endless growth, and the delusional belief that we could just keep kicking the can of environmental destruction down the road indefinitely. But just like that can eventually rolls into a bottomless pit, we finally reach the point where reality can no longer be ignored. The IMF is predicting a global economic slowdown so severe it would make the 2008 financial crisis look like a minor blip on the radar. When nature calls collect, and if you thought the economic situation was grim, wait till you hear about what's happening to our dear old Mother Earth. She's not just sending us a strongly worded letter anymore. She's hired a collection agency with a penchant for natural disasters and extreme weather events. Global temperatures are rising faster than the national debt, and the consequences are about as pleasant as a sunburn on your eyeballs. We're talking melting glaciers, rising sea levels, and more extreme weather events than you can shake a stick at. Scientists are warning that if we don't get our act together and address climate change with the urgency it deserves, we're in for a whole world of hurt. We're talking mass extinctions, global food shortages, and climate refugees fleeing their homes by the millions. Humanity's greatest hits: war, famine, and pestilence. And just when you thought things couldn't get any worse, let's not forget about the classics: war, famine, and pestilence. Global conflicts are flaring up faster than Tinder notifications in a college dorm, fueled by a toxic brew of political instability, resource scarcity, and the fact that some people just really like to watch the world burn. From the ongoing war in Ukraine to the escalating tensions in the South China Sea, it seems like everyone's got a bone to pick and a stockpile of weapons to prove it. The convergence of these crises is creating a perfect storm of misery and suffering. Millions are facing starvation, displacement, and disease, while those in power seem more concerned with consolidating their wealth and power than addressing the root causes of these problems. So, are we doomed? There you have it, folks. A mere glimpse into the dumpster fire that is our current reality. The collapse of society is no longer a question of if, but when. The signs are all around us, screaming at us to wake up and smell the burning embers of our civilization. But does that mean we're all doomed? Are we destined to become just another cautionary tale in the annals of history? A reminder that even the most advanced civilizations can succumb to their own hubris and greed? Well, maybe, or maybe not. The future, as they say, is not set in stone. We still have a choice, a sliver of a chance to change course before it's too late. Now, I know what you're thinking, John. This is all well and good, but what can I, a single person with a crippling Netflix addiction and a penchant for online shopping, actually do about any of this? And it's a fair question. It's easy to feel powerless in the face of such overwhelming global challenges. But here's the thing, you're not powerless. Far from it. Never underestimate the power of collective action, of millions of individuals coming together to demand change. Think of it like this. If every single person watching this video right now decided to make one small change in their lives, the cumulative impact would be enormous. It's like the butterfly effect. But instead of a butterfly flapping its wings, it's millions of people making conscious choices to create a more sustainable and equitable world. And the best part is, you don't have to be a superhero or a billionaire philanthropist to make a difference. The future is unwritten. The future is not predetermined, my friends. It's a blank canvas, and we, the human race, are the artists. We have the power to create a masterpiece, a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive, where we live in harmony with nature, and where Justin Bieber's music is banned from all public spaces. The challenges we face are daunting, no doubt about it. But they're not insurmountable. We have the technology, the resources, and most importantly, the ingenuity to turn things around. What we need now is the will, the collective determination to say enough is enough and demand a better future for ourselves and generations to come. The time for excuses is over. Now, I know there will be those who say it's too late, that the damage is already done and we're all going to die anyway, so why bother? To them, I say this. Even if the worst-case scenario comes to pass, wouldn't you rather go down fighting for a better future than just sitting on your couch, scrolling through social media and waiting for the inevitable? Throughout history, humanity has overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges. So, who's to say we can't overcome this challenge too? The time for excuses is over. The time for action is now. Join the movement. So, what are you waiting for? The fate of the world is literally in your hands. Every single one of us has a role to play in creating a more sustainable and equitable future. Join a local environmental group, contact your elected officials, and demand action on climate change. Educate yourself and others about the challenges we face and the solutions that exist. Every little bit helps. Remember, we're all in this together. The choice is ours. As we stand on the precipice of what can only be described as a societal apocalypse, it's important to remember one crucial thing. The wealthy might have their panic rooms and their underground bunkers stocked with enough champagne and caviar to weather a nuclear winter, but for the rest of us, it's going to be a bumpy ride. The poorest among us, as always, will bear the brunt of the suffering, while those at the top of the food chain will be insulated at least for a while. But make no mistake, the pain will eventually trickle up like sewage backing up in a poorly maintained mansion. On that uplifting note, we hope you found this video informative. Thanks for watching.